Before starting my pre-flight, I take a rough glance at the aircraft. I come over first to the tail wheel. I make sure that this is centered so I can tell if the tire is flat. And after doing that, I take a rough glance at the surfaces of the aircraft, seeing if there's any rips or tears in the surface. And I look underneath the aircraft, seeing if there's any fuel or any debris that would damage the aircraft. After doing that, I come straight over to the door and I will complete this checklist through the pre-flight inspection, but I will not hold this checklist as I do the counterclockwise flow to increase in proficiency. I will start this pre-flight checklist, making sure that all of the switches are in the off position, making sure the master is off and the magneto switches. I will then glance up and make sure all the circuit breakers are popped in. If one is popped out, this could indicate that there could be an electrical problem with the airplane. After doing this, and I will move to the aft bulkhead, making sure that the airworthiness and the registration is in the back of the airplane. After doing this, I will pull out and make sure all the required documents are within the airplane in this pocket. I will then look and make sure that the fuel quantity gauges are registering and see how much fuel I have, rough estimate of how much fuel I have in the airplane. Now unlatch the controls to make sure everything is in proper working order before flying. I will tilt the stick to the left, making sure that the left aileron goes up and the right aileron goes down. I will then pull the stick backwards, making sure that the elevator goes up. After doing that, I will pull the stick to the right, making sure that the left aileron goes down and now the right aileron is up. After doing that, I will go back to the neutral position, leaving the elevator in the downward position. Good. After completing this and making sure that the controls are in the proper working order, I will move over and check our lights. I will first clear, turn the master on, the strobe lights on, landing light on, as well as the nav lights. I will then proceed to walk around to the tip of the wing. I put my hand up to ensure that the strobes are on and the green nav light is on the right wing. I then proceed to walk around to the nose of the airplane, ensuring that the landing light is in proper working order. After doing this, I walk over to the stall horn, flip it up, listen to it, and ensure that it's working. I will do the same, put my hand up, make sure the strobes are on and the red nav light is on. After doing this, I will walk to the tail of the aircraft. Making sure that the tail light is in proper working order and on. After ensuring that all the lights are in proper working order, I will go ahead and turn each off. Off goes the strobes, the landing light, and the nav light, and then turn off the master. Now I will go and pick up the necessary materials to clean our windshield. Over and I will grab a bucket as well as the window cleaner spray. I will then grab paper towels that are specifically designated. I will then move to the trim tab, making sure it is in the normal position aligned with the dot as indicated. After doing this, I will make sure that the carb heat is in the cold position and the throttle is completely at idle. Then I will move to the mixture, make sure it is completely pulled out in the idle cutoff position. After doing that, I will move underneath the panel and make sure that the brake reservoir looks good and cables and cotter pins are intact, as well as making sure that the forward circuit breaker is in, as well as the fully aft circuit breaker. After doing this, I will look and see if our windshield is dirty, and in this case it is. Pause that. We'll then grab the designated paper towels to clean the windscreen. After doing this and grabbing the cleaner and the bucket, we'll move over and we will fill it halfway with water. We need to be sure and not grab the paper towels that are not designated for the windscreen, due to the fact that it may scratch. I then start by ensuring that all of the switches are in the off position and closing the door so we don't get any water in the interior of the aircraft. This could cause damage to the electrical system and even the interior. Move to clean the windscreen. We want to be careful and ensure that we step on the right part of the tire and not step where we're not designated to step. You can place your foot right here, but do not step right here, as this could damage the landing gear. After getting your footing, I like to sprinkle. We need to ensure that we are stepping on the right part of the tire. We step on the tire, we are not designated to step here, as this could damage the landing gear and be detrimental to the safety of the flight. Once we find our right footing, just sprinkle slightly across the windscreen, ensuring that it is fully saturated. After doing this, we will grab the cleaner, give it a good little shake, and spray the windscreen down. After doing this, there's a process that we need to do. We need to go up and down to make sure that we can properly see out the windscreen, as a circular motion may reduce our visibility in the sunlight when landing. It is almost impossible to do both sides of the aircraft due to my arm length. So I like to go to the opposite end and repeat the same procedure. After ensuring that it is completely clean, we will go back and return our materials. After ensuring that our windshield is clean, we have completed the in-cabin checklist. Now we will verify. Cabin, required documents in the plane. Windshield, clean. Circuit breakers, check, and are not popped out. Avionics master was off when we entered. Magneto switches were off. I turned the master switch on. Lights are in working and operational order. The stall horn is in correct operating order. And the master and electrical switches are off. The trim tab is set for takeoff, and the fuel shutoff is on. The flight controls are unlocked and checked, and the fuel quantity gauge is checked. And in the event that I was flying solo, I would latch the rear seat belts. I will then check the fuel quantity gauge by the dipstick located in the side panel of the door. I will ensure that I am standing on the tire as well, not to damage the landing gear, as previously mentioned. I take the fuel cap off and I insert the dipstick straight down, put my finger over the hole, pull up, and I do this one more time to ensure I got the correct reading. And it is currently reading 12 gallons. I make sure to fasten the fuel cap back on to where the line is pointing directly on me, because this could be detrimental to the flight, as we could lose all of our fuel. And I will repeat this process in the next tank. And this tank is also reading 12 gallons, giving us a total of 24 gallons. After ensuring that I have the correct amount of fuel, I go back and grab the fuel sump container. I do this to ensure that there's no contaminants and I am using the proper fuel. It should be slightly bluish and there should be no contaminants, which there isn't. Then I move and I run my hand across the edge, ensuring that all the inspection covers are in the correct position. If they aren't, I just simply slide them on over. I then ensure that the pitot tube is clear and there's no contaminants within. Then I move to the aileron. I push this up and ensure that there is no sludge and it is movable and not tight. Making sure that all the bolts and the hardware are in the correct position and properly fastened. I then move to the aileron spade, give it a slight wiggle, make sure the bolts are tightened down, and then move on. I tug on the wing slightly just to make sure everything is intact. I then check the strut next, ensuring that all the bolts are properly fastened. We must be thorough in this inspection. And everything looks to be in correct order. As then we will move to the tire. So we will then inspect the tire. We will start by making sure that the line continues out ensuring that the tread has not been damaged during landings. Make sure that the cotter pin is completely secure and all the caps and hardware are fastened properly. As then we move and make sure that this hardware is in place and follow the brake line down to the brake pad, ensuring that there is no fluid leaking from the brakes. As then we will move to check our oil. We will slightly good. We pull out the stick, and I like to give it a good cleaning and wipe it down to get an accurate reading. As I clean, I insert it back in. And it currently reads 5 quarts, which is within tolerances. I then ensure that this is properly closed. After securing the latches, we move over to the prop. I run my hand across it, making sure there's no cracks or nicks, and give the nose a good shake.
Alternator belt.
Okay, you go. I will then inspect the alternator belt, giving the cowling a good wiggle, making sure that it is secure. I will then move to the next side of the prop, doing the same procedure as mentioned, just running my hand slightly over it, ensuring that there is nothing wrong. Making sure that the cowling is in order. I look inside and make sure there's no cracks running along this. And then I will look at the air vent and making sure that it is completely clear. Then I will move to the next sump and check the oil again. Looks good. And I will do the same procedure on the next tire, making sure that this lines up, that the tread is not damaged in any way, the cotter pin is fully secure, and the caps and hardware are tightened. As well as this hardware, running my hand again down the brake line and to the brake pad, making sure there's no leakage. In the event that there is leakage, it will be a red fluid color. And next I will check the strut, again making sure that everything is secure and all the bolts are properly tightened. Then I will move over to the fuel vent and making sure that it is not clogged. And I will just, as I go, run my eyes over the leading edge of the wing, ensuring that there are no cracks or dents or anything like that. As in the last wing, I will inspect that the inspection covers are in the correct position. If not, I will simply slide them over. I will come to the aileron spade and give it a good wiggle, making sure that all of the nuts are tightened. There is no sludge and it wiggles slightly, so we are good here. I'll continue to run my hand over this, ensuring that there is no damage to the aircraft. I will then sump the left fuel sump. And as I walk around the fuselage, I ensure that the static ports are not clogged in any way. And all of the antennas are securely fastened and on the aircraft, as well as the placards. After doing this, I'll get down and sump the belly fuel sump. As I do this, I tend to like to give a good glance down the belly, making sure that everything is in order and nothing is damaged out of the line of sight. After this, I will move to the pause and check the tail. I will strum the flying wires. They should make a sound like a musical instrument. After doing that, I move to the back, strum them again, making sure that the cotter pins are completely secure and bent down on both sides. I will then lift up the elevator and inspect beneath, making sure all cotter pins are in and everything is fully secure. After doing this, I'll move to the rudder. And it is important to keep in mind that we have to place our hand here before rotating the rudder, as this could cause fabric damage. Low tension and making sure that everything is in order. I will then glance and make sure the cotter pin is in the tail, as well as the lines lining up to ensure that adequate tread is on the tire. I will then proceed to the next flying wire, ensuring that it makes the correct noise and the cotter pins are down and clamped. Ensuring that everything is in proper order. I will then go and give the antennas a good wiggle, making sure that they are in the order they need to be. After checking the antennas, I will then check the static port, ensuring that it is clear and ensuring that the baggage door is completely locked. And we can ensure that it is locked by the two dots lining up with each other. Okay, pause that. I will go ahead and empty the fuel that I sunk into the tanks. We do this in the event to conserve fuel. Even though it doesn't look like a lot, we are saving a lot of money in long term by doing this procedure. Making sure that the fuel cap is completely tightened. I will then go and place this where I found it, behind the rear seat. After completing this, I will go ahead and verify my checklist. Right wing fuel sump drain, clear. Aileron and spade, check. Navigation and strobe lights were secure. Pitot tube was clear. Wing strut was checked. And the fuel quantity was checked. Fuel caps are secure and tightened, and the landing gear and brakes and tire are also in good order. Then I moved to the nose. Oil quantity was between 4.5 and 6 quarts in the normal operating order. Engine compartment and air filter was clear, and the alternator belt I checked and was secure. The propeller and spinner had no nicks and was secure. The fuel sump and drain looked great on the nose, and the cowling was secure. The left wing fuel sump drain was clear, and the right fuel. Fuel quantity was checked, and the fuel cap was secure. Landing gear and the brakes and tire on the left wing were good. I will then continue to the next page. The fuel vent was clear, the wing strut was clear, and the navigation and strobe lights were in proper working order, and the aileron and spade were tightened and secure. The static port was clear, and the belly fuel sump was clear on the fuselage. The empennage, control surfaces, hinges, and attachments, I checked. Flying wires were in good, proper order, and the control cables, I checked. Then the tailwheel assembly was checked, and the tire was in proper working order. As then I moved to the fuselage and checked the static ports and antennas, and the data plates were where they needed to be, and the baggage door was locked and secure. The entire aircraft as a whole, the inspection covers were in their proper places, and the fabric integrity was in good condition. And my theory is, if by the end of the time, no, cut that. You did the pre-flight inspection. My theory is, if your hands aren't dirty by the end of it, you didn't do it right. Thank you very much. I will now complete my engine run-up. I'll ensure that the tail wheel is straight. Doing so, then I will move and I will place pressure on both brakes, setting the parking brake. I am currently at 1,000 on my tachometer. I will now full rich the mixture.
Don't actually do it.
I will pull the stick completely aft, ensuring that the tail stays on the ground during this check due to high power. I will then full rich the mixture and run up my engine to 1800 RPM. I will then pull the carburetor heat to the hot position and watch the drop. There's no specific drop indicated, I just need to make sure that it drops. And ensure that I am still at 1800 RPM. I will then move to my magneto check. I will turn off the left magneto, ensuring that the right magneto is in proper order. And I will do the same, I'll flip it back up and do the same for the left, pulling the right magneto down. And there should be no more than a 50% between the two drops. No. There should be no more than a 50 RPM drop between the two and 200 total. Then I will move to the throttle and I will pull it completely idle, ensuring that I will then pull the throttle completely idle, ensuring that the engine runs smoothly. After this is completed, I will run my engine back up to 1000 RPM, and I am ready to take flight. Thank you very much.